Hello everyone and welcome to SkillCapped. I'm Notorious Dub and today I'm going to be going over one thing that's vital to winning games and the key to catching the enemy off guard: map control. Now see, you can always group as 5, rush a bomb site, and roll the dice hoping to get lucky and win the round. Or sit passively on a site, then rolling the dice hoping to pick up a couple of kills while the enemies overwhelm your bomb site because you didn't have any information. But consistently winning rounds and pressuring the opponents into making mistakes and taking bad engagements requires map knowledge and map control, which is exactly what we're going to be going over in this video. But before we get into that, do you find yourself struggling to win gunfights? Are you a bit lost on what you should be doing in game? Or maybe you find yourself stuck at your current rank? Well, don't worry, as our brand new hyper improvement system is specifically designed to solve these problems. At SkillCapped.com, you'll finally learn how to improve your aim, different techniques to win gunfights, and so much more. We have professional courses on every single agent, map, and mechanic in Valorant. This is also backed by top pros, players, and coaches to make sure you're getting the most up-to-date and accurate information possible. In fact, we're so confident that you'll improve using our system that we offer a rank improvement guarantee. Check it out yourself in the link below. Simply put in what rank you're currently stuck at and find out what rank you're guaranteed by using our system. So, what are you waiting for? Unlock your true potential and get the rank you've always wanted at SkillCapped.com. Link is in the description below. Alright, so first things first, there's a dilemma when it comes to map control that most people I run into just don't quite understand. And that's the balance between controlling an area, how quickly your team can make a play from or around that area, and the pressure you can generate from the area. Now let me quickly explain the reasoning behind all three, because I'm going to be going over each map and talking about all of the main points of impact with these three traits in mind. Now, when it comes to controlling an area of the map, obviously controlling an area is better than not controlling an area. But you have to make sure that the area you're willing to fight for control of is actually useful to your team throughout the round, because if it's not, you've wasted your time, and your team had to play a 4v5 because of it. Probably the most common and quick example of this is playing for Shower's control as an attacker on Bind. Now, a common strat is to do a B split on Bind, where half the team goes long and half the team goes to take control of Hookah, and oftentimes one person wants to lurk somewhere for some reason. And a lot of times it's good to lurk, but if that lurker goes Showers while your team pressures B site, oftentimes they will play slow enough to where the enemies rotate off of A site completely while his team is forcing B site. Now, if the lurker doesn't play fast enough to get a kill on a rotator, or walk all the way through defender spawn for the flank fast enough to assist with a site take, then the lurker did nothing for the team that round. Now, Showers is a great spot to lurk from on attacker's side if you know how to play with your team by getting them to rotate on a short notice, telling them how to play slow to let you get into position, and things like that. But if that's not the case, you're better off using your time and utility to control A short. That way you at least cut off the most common flank path and stop the enemy's opportunity to teleport at the very least. Next, we need to talk about how quickly your team can make a play from an area. Now, the most common example of this one is going to be when a team is going for control of both A main and B main on Ascent at the exact same time. Now, in this situation, if one side gets a pick or manages to take enough control to where they want to push for the site, their teammates are so far away that the defenders can fully rotate and pick up the site before your team even gets there. And a lot of times this setup loses rounds for your team because most people like to get a pick and pressure that advantage, but if your team isn't in position to help you, you can overpressure into you and your teammates' death. And finally, we have the ability to generate pressure from an area. And this is an area of the map like B main on Split. It's those crucial areas of the map that if you have control of, can cut bomb sites in half or just let you support your teammates from a very strong angle. And as an attacker or defender, taking control of B main and using that as a point of contact when the enemies are pushing out of B heaven is a huge advantage, because it locks the attackers out of getting a proper post plan in and puts you in a perfect retake position as a defender, and as an attacker it cuts off the only escape route and hiding spot that the defenders would have whenever your team is pushing out of B heaven and taking the site. And along with these three things to keep in mind and reasons for taking over certain parts of the map, you also have to take into account the information you gain or deny from the other team can often be worth the trouble of controlling the area on its own. And with those points in mind, let's talk about the critical points to control and take advantage of on each map, starting with Ascent. Now, on Ascent, mid control is essentially the name of the game. And I would be lying if I said it wasn't the most important thing to winning rounds on Ascent, because the only way to split a bomb site is to take control of mid. Otherwise, you're running out of a funnel into utility, where it's ultimately just going to result in your death. The biggest mistakes I see when people go for mid control on Ascent though is when they go with 5 people, or they play it far too slow and end up with a 5-man funnel into utility just from a different angle. When playing for mid control on Ascent, you have to pick a certain portion of the map that you want control of. As an attacker, you should either be smoking bottom mid and then using utility to take catwalk control, or smoking off catwalk and using utility to then take control of bottom of mid. If you're taking control of catwalk, you should have 1 or 2 people taking control of A main, and if you're taking control of mid and market, then you should have 1 or 2 people taking B control. That way, you have people in proper positions to make your map control mean something, because the pressure generated together from both of those angles and the ability to make the play together synergize and allow you to actually take the bomb site because of it. As a defender though, taking mid control should consist of smoking off both top mid and B link and holding the smokes, or going to hold aggressive angles for when the smokes fade, or you can use a smoke on either of the angles and double peek for the other angle from bottom mid and catwalk for an early pick and information. And then A main and B main both function exactly the same on Ascent as well. Both are the funnel entrances to the bomb site, which also require you to walk through the bomb site to even think about getting a flank off, and for defenders, getting control of either function as a way to get information on where the enemies are going to be playing. Now, as a general rule, you should never be pushing for control of both of the areas, B main and A main, on the same round as a defender. But on most rounds, you should have someone posted aggressively for information or 2 people aggressively pushing for that information so you can then stack the proper location once you get information for it. And that's the gist of Ascent. So with that, we can take a look at Haven. Now on both sides of the map, A-long is a crucial point of the map, and in pro play you'll see this being fought over all the time, or they'll at least play footsies back and forth to have control of it. This is because as a defender, it gives you the perfect line of sight to see if anyone is pushing up the short or long side of the bomb site, and seeing the push that early gives your team plenty of time to get there to counter the push, meaning you can leave one person there and stack something else until you get information that they're coming. And then as an attacker, you're cutting off the most common flank that causes tons of problems for anyone trying to control mid, giving your team a rotation option for a fast site take, and it denies the enemies the information of whether you could be moving up towards short or long, meaning they have to play passive on site and or keep an extra person close by for that retake. And usually you can actually just accomplish this with 1 smoke at the beginning of the round to block their line of sight, or use a little utility solo to take the area, and the enemy shouldn't re-peek that angle. And then we have mid control, which is arguably the most important thing on Haven, but you're rarely going to use your mid control to take a bomb site directly. Now mid control is best taken with 2 to 3 people and used to push the enemies back, cut off their rotations through mid or B site, and then leave a lurker and rotate quickly to take a bomb site while the enemies are paranoid about lurkers trying to retake control of B site and have no guaranteed safe rotation path to stack the site that you rotate to. As defenders though, mid control is much more difficult. Now that operators are nerfed, if you have 2 people playing B for fast rotations, then you can play around smoking off mid window and peeking down to grass for picks. But in the current meta, it's usually going to be best to back off mid whenever the enemies start to press you and just play retake while stacking the other bomb sites. And then we have garage control. It's crucial for attackers and defenders because it provides instant access into C site while also cutting off the entire rotation path into that bomb site. As an attacker, you or someone on your team with a flash should be looking for garage control nearly every round. And if there's someone available, they should also be following you to secure the trade, because trading 1 for 1 and keeping control of that power position causes a ton of problems for the defenders. As a defender, someone with flashes or entry utility should be playing garage because often they're going to be the ones facing early contact, and they have to be ready to push out of garage doors at a moment's notice because it's the best spot to retake B bomb site from if you can manage to get control of bottom mid, and it traps all of them in the site and it becomes a very easy retake after that. And C long is also an important position to keep control of, but defenders just need to know if an enemy is in the area, and attackers have a very difficult time walking up because of the narrow walkway. And if you get control of C long, it's too far to be ready to make a play anywhere except C site, and it doesn't generate very much pressure at all. So in all honesty, you're better off spending your time somewhere else. Just tripwire off C long so the enemies can't push through it, and then use your time somewhere else to take control of the map where it's going to be meaningful. And next up we have split. Now, I don't think anyone would disagree that mid control is the biggest priority on split. In almost every round, you should be sending 3 people mid and smoking off vents or the entrance to heaven. And on defender side, you should be dropping utility and flashes to take control of mid, or just leaving mid altogether and doubling up on B heaven and holding for that inevitable push. Now, this is because the team that controls mid controls the rotations, because both teams' fastest rotation path to A or B bomb site goes through mid. And from there, the only 2 critical map control positions you can take over as an attacker is B main or ramps, both of which are a 1 or 2 man job. Now, B main is the area that cuts off the enemy's peak opportunities and stops their rotation path out. Now, keeping control of this area and breaking the utility stopping you from coming out gets rid of the information and forces the people playing heaven to be paranoid and stop focusing solely on keeping control of mid, meaning that whenever your team runs through B heaven and onto site, the take is way cleaner, and you can actually get into a proper post plan from there. And defenders should also be trying to control B main, but rarely at the beginning of the round and not every round in general. When the enemies start to push through heaven or push up mid, then whoever's playing on site could push for control of B main. This is because if you manage to get control of that area, it turns the two-pronged attack into a one-area rush, and stops the enemies from getting into a post plan after that. And then we have ramps, where rounds go to die for attacker teams. Now the reason I say ramps is a one-man job is because the people who are taking a bomb site need help clearing the site, and leaving 3 people to take the site from potentially 2 people is often a very risky play because they have the crossfire from screens, site, or heaven. So the person playing ramp is exclusively stopping the enemies from flanking around behind your team, and they should only really peek whenever your team is running onto the site initially. This way they can catch people shooting out of heaven off guard, or just create a distraction to keep your team safe for long enough to get you on site, and after that your entire job playing ramps is to make sure that the enemies can't push from that side of the bomb site. Obviously you can start to crossfire whenever they start their retake, but the most important thing is turn the 3 entrances to the bomb site down to 2. That's your job. And finally we have Bind, which is one of the most map control dependent maps because there is no mid to just run it down every round to try and control and get pressure from there. The best way to break down Bind map control is this. There's 1 critical entrance to each bomb site and 1 supporting entrance to each bomb site. When taking a bomb site, the majority of your team should be running up the main entrance of short, because while it's more difficult to plant from, it gives the most options to prevent the retake, and it gives access to U-Haul, the most important area on the entire map. Now, as a defender, you should make sure you keep control of U-Haul to make the retake that much simpler because it gives the extra entrance to peek and isolate angles from. And as an attacker, getting control of U-Haul means your team doesn't have to peek as much and they don't have to go aggressive for post plan positions. They just have to watch the bomb because the person in U-Haul has their crossfire naturally whenever the enemy taps the bomb. And the supporting entrance to A site is from showers, and the person playing showers should never be peeking aggressively if their team is pushing from short. Now the shower player's job is to peek the person trying to stop the bomb plant. After that, they have the best spot to protect the bomb plant from, and don't have to peek until the enemies go to defuse the bomb. And taking control of showers on every other round also gives your team the ability to teleport from long B at any point in the round and have the opportunity to run out on A site if things go wrong. So as a defender, cutting this area off early by smoking the exit and playing off angles in the beginning of the round will do wonders for forcing the enemy team into bad pushes. And then we have B site, where hookah control is king when long is actually easier to take the site from. Now hookah control as an attacker is best for the angles that it opens up for supporting your teammates that are rushing the bomb site from long. Where most people like to jump out of hookah window, it's too predictable, it's often littered with utility, and everyone likes to spam through the smoke at that jump down. But hookah does provide perfect vantage points on elbow and CT, which are the 2 problem angles for taking the site. And for the defenders, it does the exact same thing by providing perfect angles to stop the enemy from taking the site from long, and provides the fastest flank path to the enemies who decide to take a site. And then we have long control. As an attacker, keeping long control is crucial for taking the bomb site because it keeps the most angles in front of you, blocks you from the CT angle while you're clearing the site, and gives you the opportunity to teleport if things go wrong. As a defender though, long control essentially shuts down the B bomb site by providing the perfect crossfire on enemies coming out of hookah. But unfortunately, almost everywhere you play in long is a 50-50 angle, but the enemies aren't sure where you could be, so it's not quite a 50-50. So if you're playing 3B, you can keep a teammate there to trade you out just in case things go wrong, but otherwise you should be playing one of those 50-50 angles that still allow you to run so you don't have to fully commit to the fight, and give yourself the opportunity to back away and still play a retake because you don't have anyone there to back you up. But ultimately, map control comes down to taking over the map in ways that allow you to make plays and take over the objectives because of it. Now I see too many people in my games rushing out for map control and end up dying, or just being not very useful in the round because they're going for map control in the wrong places at the wrong times. And remember, if you want to improve, win more gunfights, and get the rank you've always wanted, then check out SkillCapped.com. The link is in the description below. But if this guide helped you, let us know in the comments section down below, and make sure you tell us what you want to see next. Before you go though, make sure you hit that subscribe button with those notification bells on so you can keep up to date with all of our premium content. And as always, I want to thank you for spending this little bit of your day with us, and I'm Notorious Dub, signing off.